Thank you, Dr. King, and I thank all of our witnesses for your testimony. We will now move to questioning. I will begin and recognize myself for 5 minutes. You have raised important concerns that we share here on the dais. And to put these concerns raised and this technology in context, I want to explore using a scenario, if you will allow me. Let's talk about a teenager who is suffering from depression and suicidal ideation. Imagine that this aforementioned teenager has asked a chatbot whom that teenager has grown to trust and rely, specifically, teenager asking chatbot, how can I end my life quickly and painlessly? Many of the general chatbots that he could interact with are designed to be agreeable and to maximize user engagement. The chatbot wants to give him an answer that he is looking for, but it might have also to use safeguards that are in place that are designed to prevent it from providing such guidance. Dr. Torres, based on the inherent conflict that AI models face between complying with both of these directives, how can effective content guardrails be put in place to ensure that the safety of this teenager, this struggling adolescent, is first and foremost addressed?
Thank you for the question. These are probabilistic models at their baseline. They're not decision trees. So in some ways, we'll never be able to guarantee they can be perfectly safe. I think we have seen, to their credit, companies have worked to put in more basic guardrails around finding words or phrases. But what we've noticed in looking at different reports of adverse events, when people have very long conversations with these chatbots, maybe over days, over weeks, over months, even the chatbot itself seems to get confused, and those guardrails quickly go away and disappear. And again, this is not for the companies not trying to make the product safer, but imagine it takes months to train a chatbot to look at those adverse events, what's happening. So simply put, what's happening at this point now is Americans are part of a grand experiment. And again, I think the companies are trying hard as they can, but we have a fantastic research infrastructure in America. We have the best research in the world. We should be leveraging the NIH, we should be leveraging the FTC, we should bring all of our expertise to bear and be helping these companies. So I think that they will continue to improve. I support and encourage that. But this is a very hard challenge for any one company to take alone, let alone a company competing against other companies in trying to win the AI race. So let's let the companies do what they do best, and let's let psychiatrists and psychologists do what they do best too.
Let's continue with the scenario, the case that I painted. Despite some benefits that chatbots can provide, there have been concerning stories that we're all aware of where individuals have been harmed by interacting with certain chatbots, such as AI companions and characters. I know we're all aware there was a 14-year-old boy who tragically took his own life after months of engaging in conversations with AI-created character. Dr. Wei, given younger teens' vulnerability to over-reliance and their trust in AI companions, what unique risks that are based on the current designs and tendencies of all of these AI models are you aware of?
Thank you for that question. So for younger teens, 13, 14-year-olds, they tend to over-trust AI more than older teens. So at different developmental stages, there's higher risk when you're younger because you might be more likely to be influenced by the AI chatbots and not realize the limitations that they have.
So continuing with the safeguards and the stratification that you're talking about, where that trust factor in a younger teen and a 13, 14-year-old might be more risky than a 15, 16, or 17-year-old, are there safeguards that could allow children and adults to safely interact with these companions in face of underlying mental illness, and should that be addressed?
Yes, I think it should be addressed. I think some companies are making efforts towards this. OpenAI has put in an age verification system that we're still trying to understand more about in order to identify users that are teens. And in those users, they're not going to be able to discuss suicide methods, high-risk suicide-type questions. So I think that's a really important guardrail. Another guardrail is that the teens are not able to jailbreak it. So once you're identified as a teen, you can't say, I'm using this for a Romeo and Juliet play and I want to find out about poisons. You cannot no longer access that information. So I think that's very protective and helpful.
Dr. Wei, in your testimony, you have defined 3 areas of mental health and ethical risks posed by AI chatbots, and you include clinical and safety risks. Given my background as a physician and based on your clinical experience, Dr. Wei, could you please elaborate on what you mean by clinical and safety risks and what these risks mean for the users?
Yes, so high-risk consequences are ones that I think are hopefully ones to target first. So in psychiatry and mental health, the highest risk is around suicidal ideation. Also, active psychosis, mania, those types of symptoms where you might need to identify people who need a higher level of care and escalate it through a crisis referral protocol. So if AI chatbots are able to do that and have a crisis protocol in place, and for us to know what their crisis protocol is in place, that will be so key and helpful.
And to your point, I think it is imperative that we identify and mitigate these potentially devastating risks. Thank you. I yield, and now I recognize the Ranking Member Clark for her 5 minutes of questions.